All right, so let's get started with our little nightly chat. Time right now is right around 9:30, and we're talking as of right now. We're talking about possible severe weather next week. Of course, the hype train is already in full throttle. You're already seeing people out there blow this thing up way out of proportion and trying to scare everybody. So what we aim to do here, once again, on my page, we don't feed you the BS. We feed you the facts. We give you the facts. Is what we're giving you here. So this is going to be some good information for you. So all right. So let's talk a little bit about the what's going on here with the chances for some severe storms there on Monday. All right, so what we got taking place is we have a strong storm system that's going to be moving in our direction over the weekend. Okay, starting tomorrow and lasting into the weekend, we are looking for some southerly winds to kick in ahead of the storm system here that will help pull moisture into the area. So with the last couple systems, especially early on in the spring and the last few systems that we've seen, they've been strong, but we haven't had the moisture really in place to really produce more of a classic severe weather event because the pattern's been so progressive, moving so quickly. We just haven't had the time to really moisten things up. Well, this system is going to be preceded by several days of strong south winds, and that's going to help pull in moisture from the Gulf of Mexico. So as we head into early next week, and keep in mind, I'm not a big fan of pointing out specifics. I'm not a big fan of really screaming very loud when it comes to these types of events or playing them up that much when they're still several days away. I've seen these systems look like this, and then we get closer to time, and then things completely change, and we don't even see a drop of rain. That has happened before. But at least as of right now, the latest data that I've been looking at suggests we got that moist southerly flow, and we should have some really nice moisture in place out ahead of this vigorous storm system here. So as of Monday afternoon, you'll have a dry line. The dry line basically separates the dry air from the west. That's the dry air that comes in from Mexico and the west parts of Texas from the moist air that you see further to the east. So this is where your Gulf moisture is in place. So as the storm itself ramps up, in addition to the moisture and the fuel needed, you've also got some real strong jet stream winds coming into place, just like that. So that wind energy is there. The instability is potentially going to be there too. That's the fuel that the updrafts need to really feed and strong and get stronger there. So with that in mind, when you get a jet stream that's real strong, that helps promote stronger updrafts. It helps pull that energy more so into the storm so it's able to get stronger. It's like ventilation. They're able to live longer. The updrafts are able to stay void of rain longer, typically speaking. At the same time, when we get an area of low pressure developing just east of the Rockies, it also creates strong south winds in the lower parts of the atmosphere. And when you combine this with some winds that turn a little bit, it creates what we call wind shear. It causes the atmosphere to turn and to spin a bit. So as you get thunderstorms that develop, it allows the thunderstorms not only to rotate at all levels of the atmosphere, but it also allows them to rotate sometimes from the cloud down to the Earth's surface. Oftentimes our severe weather events here will have these strong upper level winds, but the low level wind shear won't be particularly strong, so you don't get much in the way of tornadoes. You wind up getting hail and wind. Other events, sometimes you'll have the shear there in place, but the fuel, the energy, the real warm humid air won't be in place. But with this system, it looks like as of right now, all the boxes are checked. So with that in mind, if you look at my graphic over here on the right, we're going to go with severe weather possible. Now, I know Storm Prediction Center, what they do, they go with the orange and the yellows. I don't typically do all that. I think it's too confusing. So what I do is I'm just drawing a general thunderstorm area, a general red severe thunderstorm area possible. So we go with possible severe weather. And as of right now, if you kind of look at the way things are, we have to at least talk about these things at this point. All of the hazards would be possible with this type of a setup. But one thing I want you to also pay attention here too as well, and this can this is a way of perhaps maybe easing your anxiety, because I know a lot of you have it, is it is still early and things can and probably will change, to check back. So oftentimes what I see with these systems, when you're several days out and we're looking and tracking these storms, it'll look like we're going to get whacked with some big severe weather event when you wind up seeing the dry line wind up being too far west. The system slows down and you wind up with all your severe weather over here, and we just get the leftovers in the middle of the night over our way, which is usually just a little puny little line of thunderstorms rotating on through. I've seen it happen many a times before where the main severe threat's over into here. I've also seen it where these systems speed up a little bit and that forces the dry line to the east, and then your severe threats wind up over in here. So to get everything to come together for this area, everything has to line up just right. And again, the weather data right now suggests that it will, but there's still time for that to change. So what I've done is we do these things called first alert weather days, and we did go with the first alert weather day here on Monday. And that's just to say, hey, I need to be watching out for Monday. That's all that is hey, I just need to watch out for Monday. Ken is saying there could be some severe weather, so I need to keep an eye on Monday. And what I want you to do is this. I want you to check back here tomorrow, Saturday, and Sunday. And we'll have, I'll have updated information for you. So again, there's a lot of things that can and will change probably before this right here. My rule of thumb that I teach my guys, typically speaking, is these systems usually slow up. And a lot of times these big systems, we call them synoptic scale systems, a lot of times these systems don't wind up producing big severe weather events here. It oftentimes wind up being north or even west of us, or north or east of us. A lot of times our better severe weather events here come with what we call mesoscale features, which is smaller scale features in the atmosphere, such as a dry line with an outflow boundary or some type of a stalled front, and oftentimes that's what produces our bigger severe weather here. But if you can get things to line up, when you've got the big systems in place, it does have the potential to produce bigger severe weather. So that's why we want to keep an eye on it. Now, we're not panicking. We're not trusting those bozos out there on TikTok and on YouTube. We're trusting our trusted meteorologist. If it's not me, if it's somebody else, that's fine, but just make sure they got the credentials there, and just kind of follow what we're saying here through the weekend here. We're not going to steer you wrong. I'm not going to try to scare you. That's not my goal here. And if anything, I hope that that the severe threat winds up going away by Monday. And I know my buddy Eric Fox, though, doesn't wish. He's a storm chaser. He loves it so. But yeah, you could wind up getting the line of storms. You just never know, what you're going to wind up with. Like I say, if you wind up with supercells to our west over in the Panhandle, you usually wind up with the line of storms here. If you wind up getting the supercells here, then that's a different story. So we'll have to just wait and see how it all just plays out. What's up, James? Good to see you on here, buddy. I don't know, Garrett. It's Facebook algorithms. That's just what it does these days. It sends out. I'll be on live, and I won't even be on anymore, and people will be getting notifications that I was on live, and I'll be done. So that's just Facebook algorithms. It's just what it does. So yeah, been a minute since I've seen you guys. You guys are doing a good job. What is a pink colored day? What do you think? What is that supposed to mean there? So, well, I mean, that's not bad, Eric. 115 at one point isn't bad for Facebook. So, Reed will always go. Corey, Reed goes to the area that's going to see the bulk of the severe weather. That's where he's going to go. So, Ray, what kind of severe weather? It's really too soon, honestly. It really is too soon to be saying what kind of severe weather we would see with this. If you look at the data right now, if you look at several factors, if you look at the data and you look at the time of the year it is, and you look at you look at what we call analogs, this would be a bigger severe weather event. This isn't just like a hail or marginal tornado threat. This would be a bigger threat for all of the above if this were to come together. And again, it's still several days away, and between now and then, that dry line may wind up being further west, and then the threat's over in the Panhandle. And that's in years past, that's the way it's been, and that's where the bulk of the severe weather has been. Or the system speeds up, and you wind up seeing it to the east. Or you wind up seeing the system coming through at a good time, but you wind up getting too strong of a cap in place, and you don't see anything. But there's a southerly flow, like I was talking about, pretty breezy and warm over the weekend. This is a computer model based upon the European, and it shows that dry line kicking off some storms by afternoon on Monday there, right along and ahead of that dry line. And, basically from North Texas all the way into Kansas with that, which would be a classic, central southern plains severe weather event. So then that kind of blows on by, and then you might see some more storms about this time next week with that front. And then guess what? Here comes a lot of weather information keeps that polar jet active up to our north, and it keeps some cool air funneling south into late April. So that could kind of put a bit of a kibosh on the severe weather later on in the month. But that remains to be seen. The overall pattern to me, at least from the weather pattern anyway, looks favorable for more severe weather in my opinion, off and on into early May. Been a long time, really, since we've seen a weather pattern this active. Usually we'll get something in the month of April, maybe a couple of small events, and then you might get one or two there in May, and then it kind of really just kind of goes north of us by then, kind of goes away. So it's been a while, so we'll see what happens. This is what we call I call it the severe weather parameter, but this is this is really considered the supercell composite. And it just shows an area where the atmosphere would be most favorable for those bigger, stronger supercells. And see, this is showing on next Monday, the hot spot over into this area here. So at least early on until you get into the evening, and then some of that tries to transition over into North Texas. So we'll just have to see what happens. We'll have to just kind of wait and see how it all evolves. A lot of time between now and then, a lot of things to watch. And if you know me, I'm always one to go more on what you don't have than what you do have. So 200 millibar Euro does have me concerned. It's been a while since I've seen this. Yeah, you're right. It really does. But there's like Eric, there's just so, and you and James follow this stuff a lot. There's just so many variables that are yet to play out. It's really irresponsible for anybody to be on here forecasting, blowing up this thing, talking about major tornado outbreaks or whatnot. We can always discuss all that behind the scenes. I mean, even in the worst case scenario, and we'll talk to you about it even if we see the worst case scenario. But even in the worst case scenario, there's really no reason to go overboard with it. These big fancy thumbnail graphics and whatnot, you're going to see those out there. There's nothing there's absolutely nothing that I can do to stop those guys. They're not breaking any rules. They're doing what they do. But again, my goal here is to give you the good information. So. Too early to say that too, Chris. There's no way to be able to say that accurately at this point in time. So, so I just wanted to get on here and kind of touch base with you guys quickly about that. And we will be having more information on that, like I say, off and on throughout the weekend. So here's what I want you to do, and I'm about to go get dressed for the newscast here. So this is what I want you to do. Number one, when you come across some of these posts on TikTok or YouTube or social media, just scroll on past them. Don't even listen to them because they're going to scare the hell out of you, okay? And the chances are those guys aren't even going to be those guys don't even know what they're really talking about. They go on what the Storm Prediction Center says. They have no idea how to forecast weather themselves, and then that's just pretty much it. So what I want you to do is when you come across those, just scroll on past them. I want you to just have your normal weekend. Going to be a good weekend weather-wise. Get out there and enjoy it. Do some yard work. Whatever it is you do normally. Don't worry about it. But I do want you to check back on, like I say, with trusted weather sources off and on throughout the weekend. That would be the National Weather Service, you know, the Storm Prediction Center does, and those guys a lot of times they do a pretty good job too. And they've been a little bit off lately, but you know, they do a decent job. Um, so you know, look at those guys. Your local meteorologist, like I say, myself, anybody here at the station, or any you know maybe somebody else that you trust is fine, as long as you are able to get a. Well, thanks a lot, Eric Fox. You're the best in the business too, man. Best storm chaser in the business. So. Um, like I was saying, just enjoy your weekend, but just check back with your trusted sources several times throughout the weekend. And then when we get to Monday, of course, when we get to Sunday, Saturday and Sunday, we'll have a better idea what this is going to be for us, okay? But, you know, at that point in time, then you can make a little plan, a little game plan on what you want to do and how you want to handle things on Monday. Because, I mean, it wouldn't surprise me at all if we get to Monday and there's nothing. But, you know, as of right now, I can't say that with confidence. Though, I mean, as of right now, it looks pretty ominous. So I just wait and see how it all plays out. But as you know, if we do have it, you know, I'm going to be all over it. We'll be all over it. And we'll be giving you the information that you need there. All right, everybody. What's that trend going around right now? So, what's up, brother? Special teams, special plays, Tuesday. I can't believe I just did that. That's I think that's so silly. I think it's ridiculous. So anyway, all right, everybody, y'all have a great night, and we will see you on News Channel 6 here in a few minutes, and we'll see you tomorrow right back here on this YouTube, Facebook, or whatever streaming platform we're on. All right.